So we're back, I guess. We're back in New Horizons. Yeah, that is something I never thought that I'd say again, but here we are, I guess. First of all, though, in the last video on the channel announcing my hiatus from YouTube, I never thought I'd be back. Certainly never thought I'd be back here in GTNH. The plan was to continue with the pack on my own and get this tier 7 rocket. I don't know yet if I'm going to go any further, but I was just going to play on my own. But then I thought, you know, if I'm going to play this pack, I might as well bring you guys along with me, since we've already spent 48 episodes and over 1,000 hours playtime in this world. After all, that was kind of the philosophy my channel was started on. I just wanted to play this game and share it with you all, and we're kind of back in that situation right now. I guess we've went full circle. But it's been almost 9 months. Can you believe it's almost been 9 months since the last episode here in New Horizons? And similarly, it's been a while since I've recorded anything for YouTube, so it's going to take me a while to get back into the swing of things. Even just speaking into the mic right now is a little bit strange for me, so bear with me. But moving forward, all I want to do is just have as much fun as possible. So to tell you guys the truth, I'm going to be playing a little bit selfishly. So things will feel a little different, but I'm grateful you guys have decided to join me once again for a request for the rocket. So since it's been so long, I think what we'll do is we'll start with a bit of a base tour, and then I'll walk you through some of my ideas and my thoughts to get this playthrough kickstarted again. And I suppose we'll take this from the beginning. We are, by the way, in a new version, so things might be broken around here, and there's the first example. I'm told that was a disassembler, which is now removed from the game. Yeah, we no longer have the disassembler, so I guess that's a broken machine. I'm sure we had another one over the other side as well. Oh yeah, we do, you see that? I suspect many other things are broken, which we're going to have to investigate here as we get started again. Alright, so just over the hill there is spawn, and we made our way to this location for the beginning of the world. To be honest, this place is looking a little rough. There's a lot of enderman damage, mob damage, creeper damage. But yeah, this is where we spent the very, very early game. Lots of our initial machines here, coke ovens, primitive blast, or what is this called again? Bricked blast furnace, that's right, for making steel. We even used to have a building over here, but that's been torn down. Lots of changes here, but there's not really a whole lot left to show. This is just a legacy area. And then most of inside here is where we spent the Steam Age through to HV, and even a bit of EV, so the different tiers of Gregtech. We even have our sign still here. We used to have a bunch of ores unprocessed, but those are now in ore processing. But yeah, most of these machines have now been replaced by the machines in the valley. I mean, besides the blast furnaces, we're still going to be using those. But most of these things have been retired. These were just to get us through progression. And if you guys have seen the beginning of the series, the first 48 episodes, then this place will definitely be familiar. To be honest, I quite like the way this turned out, and it served us very well for the beginning of the game. It looks like our titanium blast furnace is even still on. But yeah, as I said, most of the things are now in the valley, in the keyhole. Don't know if we settled on a name for this thing yet, but it looks awesome from the map. So where do we begin here? I guess we'll begin in the rocket silo. This is probably one of my favourite parts. In fact, it is the favourite part aesthetically in this base. I love the way this thing came out. And is where we're going to be launching our tier 7 rocket from. All the other rockets too, but yeah, this is where the series ends, but we're a long ways away from that yet. So coming out of the rocket silo, I guess we'll check out the platinum line. And I remember putting this together. It took 50 hours just for the machines you can see in this room. 50 hours to put this together, and it's still broken, apparently. I was running around a bit before I was recording, and it's stuck somehow, so we're going to have to fix that. And even though I have over 2,000 hours in this pack, I am by no means an expert, so you can definitely expect blunders and mistakes, and hopefully some funny mess-ups and things like that, but I guess we'll figure it out together. I'll also try to explain things as we go, because this is a very complex pack. Probably the most difficult mod pack, right? Is that really up for debate? I don't know. Do you guys consider this the hardest mod pack? I think I probably do. But yeah, I'm going to keep walking here. There is a lot to get through. And this is just going to be a very quick run through of the base, because I have decided, after much consideration, I've decided that we are going to abandon this base and completely rebuild from the ground up. Whoa, wait a second, 3, what are you doing? By the way, this is our chemistry room. We do oil processing and we make a bunch of different chemicals which are sent elsewhere in the base. Lots of things for circuit production and so on. Lots of distillation towers, chemical reactors. So I did seriously consider a full restart of the pack, but as I said, we have over 1,000 hours in this world. It's also not my first time through New Horizons either. I have another world which I already spent another 1,000 hours in, and we're almost at the same point in progression, to be honest. So I thought building the base again is going to give us a fresh feeling, a blank slate to work with. It's going to give us a chance to optimize all of the setups and fix all the broken recipes and machines in the base because of the change in version. But it's going to allow us to do that without necessarily wiping 1,000 hours worth of progress. And besides, we just got applied, well, in the last like 10 episodes I think it was, we just got applied energistics, and this is the fun part. This is like my favourite part of modded Minecraft. So I'm hoping we can have some fun. By the way, this is our multi-block applied energistics auto-crafting room. This is essentially what replaced the machines in the initial room upstairs, all the single blocks. Oh yeah, I also heard that they're getting rid of the processing array as well. I'm so sad about that. This is one of my favourite machines. It's still in the pack though right now, which is why we still have them. But they're going to be uncraftable in the future. Anyways, moving on here, we have our, I don't know, I guess this is a central area in the base. We have some applied energistics drives. Through here we have some more drawer storage, which I think is going to get changed around. We're going to store everything digitally when we move it over. There's quite a lot I would like to change when we switch bases, but we'll talk about all of that in upcoming episodes. So through here is the fluid storage. So here is where we store all of the fluids and chemicals, lots of which are produced in the first room which I showed, next to the rocket silo. And this is another thing I think we're going to change. These are all super tanks. Instead of storing it in tanks, I think we're going to go for digital storage, since we have some new tools in the pack to do with AE fluids. I've been loosely following the development of GTNH, and believe it or not, it's still under development, and there's lots and lots of new features being developed still, which is why I think this pack is so appealing to me right now. And also that I have unfinished business here. We have the tier 7 rocket to get. Anyways, moving on to the final quadrant, I guess this is. We still have the area underneath as well. So here we have a bunch of machines which process the output of the crops. We also have some machines making components for circuits, as well as some machines to make blocks which we use to build the base with. However, our new base is going to have a brand new block palette, besides this block here. Yeah, this concrete block. I want to keep using this concrete block in the new base, but I guess everything else here is going to get wasted. And I do have a plan, by the way. We're going to implement it this episode. We'll get to that shortly, but we have a few sites left to see here in the base. So we're back in the rocket silo here. Out this way is the power generation room. So this is all of our turbines, which generate all the power for the base, stored in this battery. And I guess we also have the dragon egg. This also generates us a not insignificant amount of power. So the turbines run on benzene, which is the fuel source, and benzene is made in these machines here. Keeping things moving though, we have 2 applied energistics auto-crafting CPUs, and we are now underneath the terminals where the drives are. Just above here is the clean room. This is a very underdeveloped area, to be honest. There's not a whole lot here. It could use some work, but I guess it's going to be left in this state. And then finally we have our ore processing room, which is another one of my favourites in the base. I love the way this wiring came out. And maybe we can do something similar. Oh, our machines are still running. Maybe we can implement something similar in the new base, but where we're going, I'm not really going to care about aesthetics, if I'm honest. I'm still going to put in an effort though and make it look acceptable, as you guys are going to see later on. But yeah, I can already imagine all of these storage buses are going to be a nightmare to move over, especially with all the filters. Although this might be something that we switch out how we do it, because again, we have some new applied energistics devices which might work for ore processing. And then this is our subnet and mainnet. This stores all of the ores and dusts and ingots that the machines process. Is that 1 million aluminium dust? Wow. Wow, we're rich. Not rich by GTNH standards, but there's a decent amount of stuff in here, to be honest. Oh yeah, there's one more area to show you guys, and that is the Thaumcraft room, which is on the northern side of the map. To be honest, there's not a lot to it. This is also very underdeveloped. We may end up moving this setup, or we may actually just keep it here. I'm yet to decide on that, actually. But yeah, that is essentially our keyhole, our Season 2 base here. And we're going to be saying goodbye one step at a time, and we're going to be moving on to bigger and better things. But I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. It's not a secret. This is actually the second time I'm doing this base tour, since the first time didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to. As I said, I'm a little rusty. It's taken me a while to get back into the swing of things, so I'm actually finished this episode. I hope that I got all the information across that is important for this point in time. But I'm sure you guys still have a lot of questions. But yeah, at this point I'm going to hand you off to 3 from the past. And he is going to tell you about how we're going to rebuild and develop our brand new base. Well, back in episode number 38, I think it was, when we first got the personal dimension, which you can get after you visit the moon. This takes us to a void world. And this is where Breeks is, our crop robot, who can automatically farm crops. This is where all of the crops are, and they get sent back to the base via an ender chest to be processed. However, this void world is where we're going to rebuild the base. It's going to be somewhere down there at like Y50 or so. We're up at Y130. 130 is where this platform is. So the first thing we had to do was gather the building blocks that we'd need to build the new base. It's going to be a slightly different block palette, as I mentioned. So I converted our farming station to farm regular vanilla wheat. And this used to be used for the old benzene system. It used to farm spruce logs. But it's been replaced by a second farming station elsewhere. The thing is, the farming station does require a matic, or a hoe, and the bronze matic that we carry around is not unbreakable. So instead of crafting an unbreakable axe, because it's been that long, to be honest, I can't remember how you craft an unbreakable axe. It's some tinker's shenanigans. I remembered that you can get one from the quest book very early on, just by gathering up a couple hundred of each passive animal drop. We managed to get most of what we needed, including wool, which we'll use for a block called cubits. The only thing short at this point was pork chop. Apparently we didn't have any in the kitchen either, so that prompted some exploration to some of the older areas in this world, around the spawn area. It was nice flying around the spawn area and some places I haven't been to for a while. Anyways, we got our quest and the unstable matic, which we could fill in the farming station. So the wheat is going to be used to craft hempcrete, made from sand, gravel, plant balls, and the wheat, of course. So we do get the plant balls already from the crops, and that is being sent to the crop processing area. Decided to throw in a storage upgrade onto the drawer just to make sure we were buffering some more. And in fact, we make sand this way as well, which leaves the gravel. I crafted up an LV forge hammer, and we can set up a pattern for cobblestone to gravel in the forge hammer. We didn't have any channels available, so it's in a very peculiar place right now, but it's an LV machine. All it needs is a AE interface, and we give it the pattern. For one of the other blocks, we need a lot of diorite. To get diorite, you can craft it from cobblestone and nether quartz. So we do already have quite a bit of nether quartz, but I want to make sure we would top it up, since nether quartz is used in applied energistics components. And AE is something that we're going to be expanding quite heavily as we move into the new base. So I wanted to make sure we didn't run out of nether quartz. So once I'd placed the miner, I added a few more recipes, and we could just request all the blocks that we need at this point. So it turns out we didn't have as much wool stored as I thought we did, but fortunately you can craft wool from string in an assembler. So that was just a case of adding a recipe, and it's not going to be an issue long term either, since we get string from one of the crops. So then all we had to do was chisel the blocks into the correct variants and transport them to the void world. I just pillared down using some cobblestone and imported a schematic which I threw together in creative. Well, not threw together, it took me several hours actually. But yeah, as I said, I wanted to put in a bit of an effort to make sure that I was actually happy with the finished result. And we can also use the printer function on the Schematica mod. So the printer function allows you to automatically place blocks so long as they're in your inventory. And it will only place blocks adjacent to blocks that already exist. There is also an option to adjust the placement delay, which allows for super fast block placement. and it's very, very satisfying. So I had a couple of IRL days just chilled out, building the future of New Horizons. And alright, we've got the first section of this done. I have nearly fallen into the void multiple times. In this quite large platform, as you can see here, there is little sections of missing blocks. And that was intentional, but I'm starting to think that might be a mistake. So there's still some revision to be done here. But this is only phase 1. I want to do a bit more on this before we start transferring any infrastructure over here. It shouldn't be long, to be fair, until we can get like permanent creative flight and some sort of jetpack. I think the IC2 jetpack is the next option, but we need a bit more tech before we can craft that thing. Our supply of blocks is still looking not too bad. There's quite a lot left in Applied Energistic System. And I added some travel anchors here to get between the two areas of the base. By the way, this crop system up here is going to remain, although we're going to rebuild it slightly. Or at least the aesthetics are going to be rebuilt. In fact, the full thing is probably going to end up rebuilt at some point. The only thing is we have to keep the portal up here because this is unbreakable. Oh wait. Maybe it's not unbreakable. Although I'm a little afraid to break it. Guys, let me know if I can break this safely. And maybe we can transport it down. But for now, I just have some travel anchors here. Yeah, the only thing with the blocks is I had to upgrade some of the machines over here. This machine here, making us concrete. No. The bending machine, which turns iron rods into rebar, went from an MV recipe up to an HV recipe. So all 3 of these machines were MV. Had to replace them all with HV. And the other thing I realised pretty quickly is the farming station has been moved from here into the void, since I remembered that the crops only grow when a player is in the area, and since we'll be spending most of our time now in this dimension, it only makes sense that it's here. It's pretty much an identical setup anyways. And to be fair, we don't really need that much wheat. It's not used as a primary block. So now, since I'm still in the mood for building, I want to add some sort of identifiable showpiece onto the base in the middle. You know, I told myself when I started this project that I didn't want to spend too much time building. I really want to focus on progression. But I'm getting carried away with this, to be honest. I'm having so much fun. And I did say that I was going to play in the way that is the most fun to me. There's still a couple hundred blocks here left to place. And I mentioned about the printer. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with any of the architecture blocks. So basically any half slabs, any of the rounded corners. These ones here, the 45-degree angles. Of which there is quite a few in this build. So I was thinking a lot about why I burned out of YouTube and Minecraft in general, and that's something I want to discuss in upcoming episodes, but one of the things I think I identified was the use of schematics in Trifecta. I think I overused them there, and also in some other projects. And schematics, while they're really great, they're a great tool. I think when you're just pasting schematics, it takes some of the fun out of figuring it out in the world and just playing the game. By the way, I know how ironic this sounds right now. The focus for me in GTNH and in this series upcoming is solely going to be on progression pretty much. And we are going to be lawn basing it, which is something I never thought I would say, but I had so much fun in Nomi Factory doing that I think we're going to do the same thing here. And then basically just clean it up afterwards. Although I do want to pay attention to the placement of the machines and the multi-blocks and so on. So where possible, I want to make sure it's chunk aligned. You can see these blocks of stone here. And if you guys have watched some other series on the channel, this will be familiar to you. How's our flight doing here? Oh, we have 15 seconds left. Yeah, we do have to drink the potion flask. And in fact, I had a very close call when I was building this thing a few times. A few more times. I was so close to falling in the void. I was like half a block off. And we do not have Forgiven Void. To be honest, I don't really know what happens if we fall in the void. I think we get a grave, but it spawns down at Y0. Anyways, I mentioned this at the very beginning of the series, I believe. And we done it in the overworld, but here, this is the center of the chunk. And because a Minecraft chunk is 16 blocks wide, I mean, there's no center unless it's 2x2, but I want a single center. So to get that, you can count out 7 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the 8th block becomes the border. So the border would be right here. But that doesn't work in a 16x16 chunk. So 2 of the borders have to be on the inside of the chunk. So these ones here are on the inside. So you basically have 2 inside borders and then 2 outside borders. As you can see here, the black line is this one. It's on the outside of the green outline, which is the chunk boundary in Minecraft. I only mention this again because I want to try to keep the multi-blocks, of which there's going to be a lot in this base, inside the chunk and not cross the boundary if possible. Apparently it's not that much of an issue if you keep the chunks loaded, but it also makes it easier to center things and keep it looking nice and neat. Anyways, I'm going to finish placing these blocks. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. I removed the underside of the farms. There used to be a second layer here. I removed that. I think I'm going to leave the farms as is because we cannot pick up these crops without a chance to lose the seed. At least without some Thaumcraft tools. By the way, I might sound a little bit different throughout this video, and I'm still trying to get my audio settings dialed in because I got a new mic. I ended up selling my old one because I never thought I'd be back at YouTube. So this is a slightly different audio setup than we had before, and I'm still trying to tinker around with it. But I think I've got it to an alright place at the moment, so I'm going to leave it as is. And maybe you guys can let me know if anything sounds off. But from this point on, I'm going to just leave it. I'm honestly terrible for things like this. I could honestly spend the whole afternoon just tinkering with audio settings. At some point though, we just have to play some GTNH, right? So let's get started. My objective for the end of the episode is to be able to get Applied Energistics in the Void Dimension. You guys all know how much I enjoy Applied Energistics and how powerful it actually is. Oh wow, 10,000 copper dust. Yeah, one of the things about jumping into an existing world is I have no idea like what all we have, what kind of inventory we have. So we're about to go through this together, kind of, and we'll try and craft up some of the components that we need. I did also throw in a bunch of nether quartz here, but it looks like I didn't enable auto output, so that's fantastic. Oh yeah, we do have quite a bit of nether quartz now. The miner is still in the nether though, so I'll have to go and get that. I'll probably get it between episodes. And I also want to empty out these blast furnaces. I filled this up with a whole bunch of steel when I logged in, when I first started playing again, because I know we're going to need this. We are also going to need stainless steel. What have we got here? Shadow metal. A bunch of stuff. I guess we'll take it. The energetic alloy. I made up some more silicon bulls. Some of these materials might seem foreign to you guys right now, but don't worry. The more we come across them, the more they're going to become familiar. And as I said, I do want to try to explain things as we go, but there's way too much to explain it all at once here, so bear with me. Bear with me. So we are going to craft up a matter condenser. One of these. It might be a quest. Yes, it is part of a quest. Singularities signify something. We are in the Applied Energistics tab, and we're going to get the quantum ring. To go along with this matter condenser, we also need a 64k storage component. This guy. Can we craft it? Yes, we can. Oh man, I've missed this. Oh, there's something satisfying about hitting start there. And I've seen in some screenshots on Discord, they added a new... Is it this button? It looks like things are working. I'm a little bit concerned about recipes changing, so I haven't looked into any of this. But they added a new crafting tree, apparently, that you can see somewhere. Oh, it's before you hit the start button, you have this extra display. Check this out. I was shown a preview of this while it was in development. But this is such a cool view. It shows you all the steps it needs to craft the item. And I can imagine on huge crafts, this thing is going to get crazy. So hopefully we can see some of that in the future, but our 64k is done. So essentially we need the singularity, which is made in the matter condenser, and we have to trash 512,000 items into the storage component, and it's going to convert it into the singularity. I was having a look in our ME system. I don't think there's anything we want to trash that we have 512,000 of. We do have some pretty high quantity items in here. I didn't realise we had quite so much. Certainly nothing I want to trash, with maybe the exception of some of this fluid. So I want to try to see if we can trash fluid into that thing. So this is our tank for regular water. I believe there's some sort of voiding system going on here. I think there might be a storage bus underneath. And this is set to void overflow. Yeah. Can we place a water reservoir on this? Not there. That's the output side, I think. So, like that. We might have to get a pump to get it into here. We have an IV pump, but those are very expensive for us right now. Let's try to craft an EV pump, just to make this go faster. And it did craft. Nice. Okay, pump on the tank, set to import. That should pull water from a water reservoir. This is basically just an infinite water source. So now we're getting water. We should also see the water show up as items in our AE system because of the way that... actually, I don't remember why it shows up as an item. I think it might be the storage bus. Yeah, this item here is starting to climb. So we have 800,000 of these water... I guess each one of these represents a millibucket. It's used as part of the fluid crafting system in GTNH. However, I'm wondering if we can use this and this will count as an item. Yes, apparently it does. Right, 1 out of 512,000. So we should be able to request it in the interface here. And then have some conveyors and an item pipe. So we should be able to import, send that in here. And this is going to climb, yeah, 64, 127. Oh, this is perfect. We just need to get this a bit faster. This is by no means the fastest way we can insert into this thing, but it will certainly do for now. That was, yeah, it's definitely faster than what it was. I'm not necessarily in any rush. So in the meantime, let's try to craft up some of the other components that we'll need. We need a second quantum ring. This is what the singularity goes into. And so we need 1 quantum ring per dimension. We got this one, by the way, from a loot bag. So we are going to need another 8 of these. That looks doable. And this also seems doable enough. Oh wait, we have 2. We just need 1 per ring. Oh, I wanted a smooth transition for me crafting the rest of those quantum links, but something is stuck. Or maybe not. I was going to say the chemical reactor is stuck, but it looks like it's just slow. 60 seconds per recipe. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of mistakes, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, and I also want to show a lot more of the mistakes. It's not to say there wasn't any mistakes in the first 48 episodes, but I definitely tried to optimize things and try to make the video go as smooth as possible, but this time around I want it to feel a lot more authentic. So you guys are going to see a lot more of my mistakes, and then hopefully how we resolve those mistakes. Yeah, this is coming along nicely. I think it does give us 2 as the output. We need to put 1 in each quantum ring. I'm going to also start to craft like 2,000 stainless steel or more. I don't think we have that much chrome dust, but we need stainless steel to upgrade the turbines, as all these casing blocks, all those casings are stainless steel. Oh, and one thing I completely forgot about until now is for the turbines, we do need a rotor, and these are made of HSSE. One of the best, in fact, I think it is the best rotor material that we have access to at this point in the game. And the quality of the rotor here determines the power output and the durability, so these will eventually run out. I don't remember for the life of me any of the specifics, but we're going to find that out pretty soon. Most of our stainless steel is finished. But HSSE we have almost none. And this is a very, very long blast furnace recipe, 12 seconds to cool down in the freezer. And in the blast furnace it's like 128 seconds per ingot. Oh yeah, welcome to GTNH. 125 seconds with helium. Oh, that is a problem. That is a very significant problem. Okay, let's at least get the stainless steel going. That is 15 seconds per ingot. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this steel as well. Yeah, I guess there's also going to be a lot more situations like that as well. That is kind of part of the game in GTNH. I kind of tried to plan the episodes around it last time, but here we're going to be a lot more free-flowing. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about by showing the mistakes. So we should have all the materials here for the second quantum ring. Alright, there's the material for the second quantum ring. And by the looks of things, our controller is all used up, as in it has P2Ps on pretty much every controller block. Besides the corners, but we need that to join the system. And so we'll be doing a similar setup with the P2Ps, but the thing is we can't really dismantle this because our base is still operational, and we need all of this infrastructure to help us move. And case in point is that HSSE that we're missing. Like, we need these machines to help us craft more HSSE, and like ore processing, for example, all of that still has to stay connected until we move it over, and we're going to move it over piece by piece, starting with the power and the applied energistic system, which I hope to get in today. But yeah, essentially we have to keep all this connected and rebuild the controller on the other side, and then take this apart one piece at a time. So I'm going to spend a bit of time here crafting up a new ME controller. Let's remind ourselves of the recipe because I don't remember this. Okay, some HV circuit, 4 HV circuits. We should be good for titanium though. Yeah, 5,000 titanium here, and I'm pretty sure we have a lot more in this blast furnace that I showed at the beginning of the video. And here, 800, nice, excellent. Yeah, alright, let me spend a bit of time crafting here. We'll need some ME controllers and some other bits and bobs like cables. And by that time, the singularity should be finished. So, let the crafting begin, I guess. I was pleased to see that most of our automation did in fact work as intended. I came across just 2 recipes which were seemingly changed between versions and didn't work anymore in our base. I think one was the 16K storage components. We must have had one before when we crafted the 64K, but it was simple enough to adjust the patterns in our system and get things running again. Throughout the process of crafting, I also wanted to make sure to add patterns for everything to make it easier for us in the future when we go to request those items. Despite the fact that everything is going to be moved over, I still think it is worth adding the recipes to the existing machines. I also want to take a second to thank each and every one of you guys for your continued support on the channel. I have received thousands of comments and messages, all of them extremely positive words of encouragement. I hope that here in 2024 you guys are doing fantastic, and I'm certainly grateful that you've chosen to join me again for the continued journey through New Horizons. The community here is awesome. You guys are the best. You know, after being off for so long, I love doing this again. Even though it's taken me a while to get back into the swing of things. Even in the relatively short amount of time creating this episode 1, I seriously miss doing this, and yeah, it's really the whole reason I make these to begin with. But yeah, this time around we are going to get this rocket, this tier 7 rocket, and potentially beyond. But as we learned in DJ2, it's more about the journey to get there and the fun along the way that counts. Alright, so you joined me the next day. I didn't realise how long this video was getting, so I think we'll wrap it up here. But not before a satisfying ending. I still want to link the ME system to the Void World. So I've set up our quantum link chamber, and we did get our singularities. I used some TNT to explode with ender pearl dust. That gave us a request, and also the quantum entangled singularity. So one goes in this side. And for now, I have this connected to the main net. Remember, we run a subnet system where we have all of the P2Ps. This is very spaghetti right now. So it's a tiny bit hard to see, but we run all of the P2Ps into a subnet controller, and then from the subnet all the way through our base. And we're going to do more or less the same system, definitely more clean than we have it here. I want to do wire colors or cable colors, and yeah, try to make it all nice and neat at the controller on the other side. I've got it set up on the other side already, but we do have to kickstart it with a little bit of power. So I think what I'll do here is grab the dragon egg. Is it left click? Yeah, there we go. And I'll grab this as well. So this gives us 1 amp of EV power, 2048 EU a tick. So in the void dimension, I have the other side set up over here, and this is where our ME controller is going to go. I didn't want it right in the center there. I wanted it a little bit off to the side. And there is some thought that went into this lawn base. I'm not going to try and spruce it up into something it isn't. I'm aware of our flight time as well. We have 4 minutes. It is just a lawn base. However, there was some design considerations, which I'll talk about next episode. One of those being the chunk boundaries, of course. So what are we doing here? We want to provide power to the energy acceptor, and that's going to come from the Grandmaster Magic Energy Absorber. That is a mouthful. Point down, place the dragon egg, and connect this up. That should power the quantum link chamber, or the quantum ring. Sometimes you have to like disconnect it here. Is that going to work? Or maybe it's on already? Is it on? Can we link this up with the other side? Oh yeah, we're getting animations, we're getting particles. Okay, so in theory, we should have access to our ME system already. And we can take away that dragon egg because it's going to receive power now that the quantum link is established with the other side. It should take power from the main system, which is being powered independently. So if we hook up a terminal here, I have a spare pattern terminal and regular terminal, but I guess we can take it from the main base since we'll be spending most of our time here. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Did I just forget to connect the cable? I think that might be what it is. Hold on. Oh yeah, we're missing a length of cable here. Alright, so assuming no other mistakes or mess-ups, we should have access to our main AE system. Currently offline. Still offline? Oh, there's the other mess-up. One more cable here. We have lights. It's going to establish a channel, I think. Oh, you know what? We might have to chunk load this as well. At least a little bit is chunk loaded, but let's at least chunk load the controller and the wires. And I'm also using a different mod for this. It used to be FTB utilities, but the GTNH devs have actually rewritten the mod as server utilities now it's called, and it's effectively the same functionality. It gives you the leaderboard, it gives you the ability to load chunks, and it's a GTNH specific mod, I believe. I'm not sure if it works in any other pack, but oh, look at that. Look at that. Nice. So we now have access to all of our items, all of the fluids as well. Yeah, I guess all of the fluids. We need a fluid terminal. Yeah, I'm going to yoink these terminals here because the terminals are actually quite expensive to craft. However, just before we wrap up the episode, I want to fill you guys in on the progress for the large gas turbines. I thought we'd get them today, but we're not quite there yet. We are still missing the controller block for a start, which I think we can craft. I was just waiting on a couple more EV circuits, so I'm going to pick up 6 more. We also need the turbine casing. I was cooking up some blue steel. We're still waiting on HSSE for the rotors, and I cannot believe I redone the math, and it is over a stack plus 8 ingots of HSSE per rotor. And I'm going to go, I might as well pick up the stainless steel as well. I'm going to go for another 5 turbines to begin with, and then eventually up to 20 total, and we have 5 already. So we have to craft another 15. That was a very roundabout way of saying that, but I'm going to go for 5 to start off with, and we've crafted 6 here. We also need turbine casing, and I think that is the last thing we need. Minus a few cables and things, but I've already started on that. We have some HSSG cables. We have some transformers and things. And so I think it's 140 stainless steel turbine casing, which we can craft. Oh, it's so satisfying having applied energistics auto crafting. It's so good. It's honestly amazing. It's working, right? Yeah, it's going. Yeah, since I miscounted the first time, we have to cook up some more HSSE. We should have quite a bit here, but it's not enough. We need a couple hundred more. I'm going to make sure to take this Grandmaster Magic Energy Absorber. The system should stay on, right? Yeah, as I thought. We can take this down as well. I left this running a bit too long, but it's not like we're voiding anything useful. It's only water, which is why I wanted to make sure it was useless items that we were chucking in there, just in case I forgot about it, which I totally did. And finally, I want to see how much power we are consuming, because I didn't mention this, but this quantum link chamber does take passive power to run, same as every other applied energistics device, so our power system is very strained right now, even just by sending the link to the other dimension. So I think we can do that with a network tool, one of these. Energy usage 5.8 thousand EU a tick. Almost 6,000 EU. That's the main net. How much is the subnet using? Plus another 450. So almost 6,500 EU a tick. Just passively, like, that is a lot of EU. And each of our turbines generates how much? I also forgot these specific numbers. I'm going to have to remind myself before I mess with these next episode. Although I think I'm going to start it between episodes. Oh, that's right, the redstone control. I'm going to have to make a new redstone circuit as well. I'll get that done as well. These things are a nightmare to craft. I could be wrong, but I think it's around 8,000 EU per turbine that we generate. So we're almost using up, well, nearly using up, I guess, a full turbine just passively on the applied energistic system. Remember, we also have this battery here, which we're going to have to do something about, as well as upgrade to the multi-block, but we can only do so much at once. So we are going to wrap up the episode right here. Thank you guys so much for deciding to tune back into Gregtech New Horizons. We've almost hit the 50th episode mark. I think in the future I'm going to try to keep the episodes on the shorter side, maybe between 20 and 25 minutes, and try to stay as consistent as possible, but there's not necessarily going to be any set schedule. I'm just going to be enjoying myself as much as I can, pretty much. I'm sure that you guys probably still have some questions regarding the series, why we chose to move base, why I chose to come back, why I burned out in the first place, and I'm going to try to talk about that in future episodes, so feel free to leave a comment. Oh yeah, shout out to the Discord as well, make sure you check that out. Okay everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, for the 50th episode.